نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sending salutations upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We'll try and be brief due to the load shedding so that brothers can have a short day today inshallah. So alhamdulillah, we recited Surah Al-Qasas. Yesterday we completed Surah Al-Naml, which is the chapter of the ant. And we spoke about Sulaiman alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks of them in the Quran. وَوَرِثَ سُلَيْمَانُ دَاوُودَ. Sulaiman inherited Dawood alayhi salam, meaning inherited him, meaning he took over from his father. So he took upon his father's role. His father was the leader, the king of the children of Israel, and Sulaiman then became the king after him, but expanded his kingdom in such a way that there was not a kingdom in history, not before and not after Sulaiman, that matched the kingdom of Sulaiman alayhi salam. And وَوَرِثَ وَقَالَ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ. And Sulaiman alayhi salam said, O people, عُلِّمْنَا مَنْطِقَ الطَّيْرِ. We were given the gift by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning he was given the gift of understanding the language of the birds. مَنْطِقَ الطَّيْرِ, the communication of birds. وَأُوتِينَا مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. And Allah has given us from everything. إِنَّ هَذَا لَهُوَ الْفَضْلُ الْمُبِينُ. This is only from the virtue and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the trait of someone who is wealthy, someone who is successful. He attributes his success not to himself, not to his own intelligence. We know of how wise Sulaiman was, right? We spoke yesterday of the wisdom of Sulaiman alayhi salam. His level of intelligence was from a young age was very, very high. He was a very intelligent person. But what does he do? He attributes his success only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyway, Allah speaks about imagine the scene. Allah describes it for us. The army of Sulaiman alayhi salam. وَحُشِرَ لِسُلَيْمَانَ جُنُودُهُ مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ. The army of Sulaiman, the word is his armies, because he had armies, not just one army. They were gathered, and imagine a huge army consisting of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. And then there were jinn, and then there were birds, not just one type of bird. We know of the bird that Allah speaks of in the Quran, the hudhud bird, but different types of birds, all in the army of Sulaiman, all فَهُمْ يُوزَعُونَ, all in orderly ranks. All in orderly ranks. Each one has his position, has his place. فَهُمْ يُوزَعُونَ. And who consisted of them, of the army of Sulaiman? We said birds, we said insan, humans, and who else? Jinn. Subhanallah. Sulaiman, Allah gave him power, and Allah made the jinn subject to him. So they would perform certain functions and responsibilities in his kingdom. Subhanallah. What a king. What a ruler. Anyway, he attributes everything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah speaks about this army was crossing and passing a place. Hatta ataw. And they passed a huge colony, ala wadin naml, a colony of ants. A colony of ants. Qalat namlah. And when they passed this colony of ants, one ant said, and the word used for the ant in the Quran is the female version of the word ant. Qalat namlah. The ant said, an ant cried out, Ya ayyuhan naml, O my dear ants, udkhulu masakinakum, enter your dwellings, enter your homes, la yahtimannakum Sulaymanu wa junuduh, lest Sulaiman and his troops would crush you. Wahum la yash'urun, unknowingly. And Sulaiman alayhi salam heard this. He heard the communication of ants. And this may sound peculiar to our imaginations. How would Sulaiman understand the communication of ants? How would he be able to hear the ants communication. And this is obviously because Allah blessed Sulaiman alayhi salam with a range of hearing that was not like other human beings. Sulaiman's range of hearing would have been much, like different creatures are blessed with strong. For example, just to give you an example, a simple example, a dog can hear things that we can't hear, that we cannot hear. They can hear from a further distance. And different animals, certain birds, certain other creatures are blessed with a stronger hearing range, or a further hearing range. And I forget the scientific word for it. But Sulaiman alayhi salam would have been blessed with a very, very sensitive and very wide hearing range. And so he was able to even hear, subhanallah, what a miracle of Allah, that Allah blessed him, that he could hear the communication of ants. But what I want to comment on is today's modern findings in science related to the ant colony. And today's scientists tell us that the ant is the most closest creature to the human being in its level of skill and its an advanced communication level. Because you see, insects, it was always thought until recently that ants would communicate with pheromones. This is a type of chemical that it emits, that insects emit when it communicates. But ants actually communicate with sound. And this is recent research, that ants communicate by using their legs to tap upon the spike upon their abdomen. So there's a spike on their abdomen which they use their legs to tap upon this, and this emits a sound. So it doesn't use pheromones or this chemical thing this chemicals that is emitted by normal insects, but it also uses a more advanced communication method, and that is by way of sound. So subhanallah, this is evident from this verse of the Quran. But how did the Quran or the author of the Quran know what scientists only are discovering now? That the ant actually, and we know this from today's science, is that an ant would sacrifice its life for its colony. An ant would give up its life. It's a very selfless creature that would do anything for the survival of its colony, and this is evident from this verse. O my fellow ants, enter your dwellings. So this ant is going around its colony and announcing that the army of Sulaiman is coming. Get into your safe havens. Get into your colony. What does it tell us? That the Quran already that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have only revealed the Quran because the one who revealed the Quran knew the nature of an ant. Subhanallah. So if one understands this is an astounding, one of the astounding miracles of the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to understand. And such a small creature, the ant, do you know it consists of about 22,000 species, different types of ants, species of ants. And furthermore, ants constitute 20% of all the animal mass. So if you take all the ants in the world, and no wonder there's a chapter in the Quran called the ant. If you take all the ants and combine them together, they actually, the majority in terms of mass, the biggest in terms of mass. Such a small creature, yet so advanced. In its colony, an ant would distribute its work, and there are different types of works allocated to worker ants, which by the way are also female ants, and hence the Quran used the word the female version of the ant. And so ants would distribute the work and would communicate and would build bridges and different types of advanced homes within the colony. And in the ant colony there are drones, which is the male version of the ant, and this ant is responsible for female impregnation or insemination, and the ant is governed by a queen, just like we spoke the other day about the bee. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to understand and learn, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.